Holy gaslighting, Batman! That's me trying to refer to the heaps amount of gaslighting that happened in this episode tonight. Oh my gosh. Also, killers revealed and sides are chosen. CW's Charmed, episode 16, review and breakdown. Hey Twisted people, it's your Twisted Girl next door here, and today I am doing a review and breakdown of CW's Charmed, episode 16. So if you're new here, this is the way it goes. I do my overall thoughts of the episode, as in my overall thoughts of the episode, the happenings, as in what happened in the episode, and my thoughts on that. Ship talk, because I do love talking about relationships, my favorite line of the episode, and then finally, predictions. Overall, this was a really pivotal episode. We needed this episode because, one, finally, Marisol's killer is totally revealed, and not just to Macy, but to the rest of her sisters and also Harry as well. And it was a big revelation. It was a serious revelation, and I'm glad certain ways that they went about doing this, because I was afraid of certain ways that they could have gone with this, which I'll get into, and I'm glad they took the route that they did with certain characters when it came to the reveal. And I'm also glad that we got this halfway through the season, or a little bit more than halfway through that season, because this could have been something that was revealed at the season finale, and then we have to wait a whole couple of months before we see the fallout from that. So it also makes plain that the finding out of Marisol's killer is not even the, total thing to find out in the reveal, that there's so much more to dig into, which really got me excited for where this storyline and this show is going, because it's been really exciting so far with the narrative that they're choosing for this. I will admit I cringed at a lot of the gaslighting that was going on, but that was no fault of the show. It was more so they did a very good job of making us as viewers witness someone being gaslighted, which is really, oh my gosh, so cringeworthy. And they did a good job of conveying what that looks like, and also Macy's thoughts on that, which I'll get into in the happenings. But overall, I really like this episode. Charity, the serial killer, and also gaslighter. Oh my gosh, Charity made me so mad in this episode. So basically, Charity is wiping Macy's memories over and over again and making her question herself, and also question if her memory loss has to do with her demon side. She pretty much makes it so Macy believes that she was the one that killed Elder Bari. And through all of this maneuvering and also having a sob story to Harry throughout, which I'll get to in my ship talk, she comes up with the idea to bind Macy's powers, thus basically dismantling the power of 3 if she succeeds in doing so. Also in the midst of this, Maggie and Mel tell Macy, away from Harry and Charity, about Fiona being alive, and make it so that Macy swears to secrecy as well. Maggie and Mel, in getting more and more concerned about Macy, end up going to Dr. Julia, who Charity didn't want them to go to. I wonder why. And basically, Dr. Julia, when they present to her, the burn marks on Macy and the other happenings that go on, Dr. Julia's like, yeah, that doesn't sound like demon possession at all. And she pretty much surmises what we all are watching as viewers. And I'm pretty sure if you were like me yelling at the TV, oh my gosh, someone figured this out, that possibly Charity's not being on the up and up with them, and Mel starts to suspect this as well. Our smart girl Macy eventually figures it out that it was Charity that killed Elder Bari and also wiped her memories, and in that moment Charity shows up and takes her down to the vortex. And in this moment, Charity is basically telling Macy, I'm going to have to kill you. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I can't help it, but you gotta die. And Charity seems to have all these powers. I didn't know whether she was grabbing that from the vortex or what. Macy, although, holds her own, though. Oh my gosh, my girl Macy held her own, was choking Charity, but Charity overpowers her. She's about to kill her. Harry, Mel, and Maggie find them, and, basically Mel puts the beat down on Charity for a little bit, and Maggie jumps in. I kind of hope that Macy was able to get a punch in, but that didn't happen, or it happened off screen. And eventually they overpower Charity and are able to take her powers away. Fiona reveals herself, just pops up into the Charmed sister's house and talks to Charity, basically telling her in a very polite way, screw you sis, have fun in purgatory, aka Tartarus. Maggie and Mel asked Macy to show them the last night of their mother's life. And basically in the scene, we see that Marisol had a face-off with Charity, who she considered a friend. But Marisol, being so determined and so believing in Macy and the other sisters, completed the spell of unbinding their powers, thus bringing about the power of 3, and Charity killed her. And she was not possessed. Charity made the decision to kill Marisol, and that's very important to note. Okay, she made that decision. And also in the midst of this, we learned that, of course, it was Charity that was killing the other elders because the elders kept finding out about what she did to Marisol, and so she killed them to cover her tracks. So she's pretty much a serial killer, and she was not possessed by a demon, and she thought she was doing things for the greater good. Okay, sis. When it comes to Alistair basically breaking her out of going into Tartarus at the last minute, and her making the choice to go with Alistair. So she made her choice to go on the demon side. So much was established in that, and it's going to rock the sisters for a good long time to come, because they had come to really look at Charity as someone who was watching over them and someone who was friends with their mother, and it turns out she was not this whole entire time. The gaslighting aspect of this episode was really cringy, but not in a bad way, like, oh my gosh, why are they doing that? But like in an effective way, because you're watching as this happens, and us as the viewers knowing that Charity did what she did, and seeing Macy pretty much think she's going crazy, not knowing what to do with herself, and Charity just kind of going along with this, messing with her mind. It was so cringy to watch, and I guess one of the reasons for that for me is because Macy's my favorite character, and then followed by Lucy, and then the sisters, of course, and then Harry. But Macy's my favorite character, and watching her basically, I was yelling at the TV. I was like, oh my gosh, someone figure this out. Please, someone figure this out. So it was really great to see Macy being very smart, sort of leaving herself breadcrumbs in the midst of everything, so that she could come back each time to at least remember, even though, of course, Charity kept wiping her memory. As I was saying, I'm very glad they chose the route that Charity was not possessed. If you watched my last episode review, I said that there might be a chance, I predicted that there might be a chance that Charity was somehow possessed, and that would be their get out of jail free card, that she didn't know what she was doing. And this episode basically really established Charity knew exactly what she was doing, that everything she chose was her decision. Like, Charity could have straight up like appealed to the elders after Marisol told her and been like, yo, she just unbinded their powers, but I need to let you know something about Macy. And then the elders could have possibly came together to do something to the 3 or something. Maybe they wouldn't have had the power to, because, you know, the Witcher's power 3 is super powerful, but that could have been a different route. And this episode established that Charity was well within her mind and did what she did, thinking she was some sort of hero, and killed Marisol. I think it makes a point to say that demon blood, no demon blood, whatever, that you make a choice for your life. It's the nature versus nurture situation of, you know, you could say someone's inherently evil because they have demon in them, or they're great because they don't, or they don't do dark magic, quote unquote dark magic, or light magic, and things of that nature. But it really is a matter of humans, people in general, higher level beings having free will. It sets the precedent for perhaps, you know, and I'll get into this with my predictions, of Macy seeing that it's not inherently evil just because of her genetic makeup or what might be in her, versus her making her own decision and being in control of herself. I'll admit, I also wanted Macy to be a bit more stronger against Charity. I don't think, you know, Charity noted to her, like, you can't kill me, you're not strong enough. And that annoyed me a little bit, because I'm like, I know Macy can be stronger. And I know I've been saying this since I started doing these reviews, but I just really want them to allow Macy to unleash the full power of herself. I did enjoy seeing Mel kick Charity's butt, though. Oh my gosh, Mel can fight. And also major respect to Marisol. I mean, I love that she pointed out that she believed in Macy, and that she believed that Macy was great and good and could overpower any dark side that she might have. I think that was poignant that they made it so that we got that scene and we saw her say that, and that Macy was able to see that as well, so she can believe in herself. And I just thought it was awesome that Marisol, with her last dying breath, did the spell and unbinded their powers. And it was emotional, and that was really just such a strong moment. this character who, for all intents and purposes since the beginning of this show has been dead, but we see in these flashbacks just how layered and how awesome this character is, and this scene just basically proved that again. The strength of that character very much flows through the sisters we see. So that's some really great storytelling, really great consistency. Parker's demon infection. Okay, so possessed Lucy, which I need someone to figure out that Lucy is possessed. Like, we need to help my girl out. That's my second favorite character, and I'm tired of her being treated like a puppet. But yes, possessed Lucy spikes Parker's drink, and this causes a demon infection. Yeah, causes a demon infection, and so he pretty much figures out as he tells Maggie that it was his father and that his father did this before, and making it so, kind of forcing his hand to have to go to his father to be the one to cure his infection. But Parker is refusing to do that, and Maggie is pushing to help him. This was a very small plot line because, as I said before, we were very much focusing on the major plot line of Charity being a serial killer. But with this plot line, I think it was more so a setup, one, to that scene of Alistair going to Charity, but also, showing that Parker is still very much in danger. I mean, we saw earlier in the episode that the serum, I guess through Macy's blood, or however they're doing that, the serum was working or is working for Parker. So we know his demonness can be cured, and basically his father pretty much set that back times 1,000, which really sucked in a way. I was kind of sad about that. I was like, oh my gosh, she's making progress, and of course this happens. And so I'm curious to see where this is going to go, and I'm curious to see why Alistair really wants him and Maggie together so closely, if not maybe to twist Maggie's arm to do something for Alistair in order to save Parker. I'm not sure. Maggie and Parker, they're still sweet as ever. It's very funny, she's still doing her rushing for her sorority, and Parker's very much in love with Maggie, and Maggie's very much in love with him, and it's nice that they show that, and I think this episode just showed that they're still in danger. I'm glad so far, though, that Maggie is not pregnant. I was worried about that last episode, or the episode before, and so far, so good. Harry and Charity, that is done. Oh my gosh, that is so done. No, it's done. I mean, what else can you say? She was a serial killer. Basically, in that moment when she was trying to tell Harry, oh, please help me, Harry was like, I don't even know you. Who are you again? I'm sorry, who is this? New number, new phone, who this? Harry and Macy. Oh yes, I'm going to mention some Hasty in here because I felt like we got some Hasty in here in a few aspects. One, when Charity had basically suggested to bind the powers, Harry was like, absolutely not. It was like, no, we're not doing that. Do you know what that will do to the power of 3? And more so, I mean, what would that do to Macy, taking away her powers? Like, what's a witch without her powers? Like, that's such an essential part of who a witch is, It defines them in a way. Not completely, but it's very much a part of them. Could you imagine, right? So it was a nice scene of seeing, because before this, like I had mentioned of the bedroom scene, Harry was all concerned for Charity, but as soon as Charity made that suggestion towards or about Macy, Harry was like, oh no. He was very protective of Macy in this whole entire episode. So you saw little bits and pieces of that. And like I've said before, I think they're totally a slow burn. I think it's one of those things where they are establishing how close they are and how much Macy and Harry care for one another, because Macy also, when Maggie and Mel told her about Fiona, Macy immediately was like, we need to tell Harry and Charity. Now, she mentioned the thing about Charity, but she was like, more so for Harry. And she even said, she was like, poor Harry. And I'm like, what? Like, you really care, girl. I know you do. Yeah, you too. That's just like you, to make every moment about yourself. You tell her, Fiona. You tell Charity how self-centered she is, thinking she's some sort of hero. So I have a few predictions, or more so a few theories that I have kind of swimming in my head with everything that's going on. One, I still stick by what I said about Macy choosing to use her demon blood, her demon side, and not getting rid of it, making the choice to say, I choose my life and I choose my good or bad, and it's not just predetermined because of something that's in my blood. My other theory deals with the fact that there are a lot of sides when it comes to the apocalypse, when it comes to the possible end of the world, when it comes to power grabs that are going on. We have Alistair's side, which Charity has joined, right? We have the Elders' point of view, where they want to basically keep power as they are the ones that mainly wield it. And then we have the Circana point of view, where they're also doing a power grab. So in a way, we sort of have these three sides going at it. And in the midst of all of this, we have the charmed ones, right? And so I think what we're going to have to deal with is what side or who the sisters align themselves with. I think that's what we're going to have to deal with next. Whose side are they going to try to be on? Maybe they're on their own side for the sake of humanity. Maybe they do their own kind of, greater good. No, none of these three should really be in power sort of a deal. Or, maybe they'll align with the Circana. I mean, for sure they're not aligning with Alistair. That's for sure. But there's still the whole situation of the Elders versus the Circana and which side the three find themselves on. Now, I will admit I have been leaning towards the Circana a bit more just because of the instances that we've seen that they've showed themselves not to be totally shady. They showed themselves not to be like total dictators when it comes to what they believe magic should be allowed to do. In that same vein, though, I don't think the Elders are out and out evil. I mean, we saw Elder Bari, rest in peace, Elder Bari. Oh my gosh, still mad that Charity killed her, that she wasn't evil. She wanted to figure out what was happening, and that the other Elders were trying to figure out what was happening, which was why they were getting killed. So clearly they didn't have anything to do with Marisol being killed, right? Which was something I kind of was wondering if that was a thing, that the Elders had put Charity up to it, but Charity acted on her own. So this goes back to the idea that both the Elders and the Circana have their own way of going about things that, come into conflict. So I think the power of three, the sisters, are going to try to have to figure out whose side they are on. And I'm thinking we're leaning into them having to face off with Fiona, just because that'll probably be way cooler, because she seems like she's super powerful too, and she'll have her own thoughts, although I don't think she's out and out evil. Okay, so what did you think of episode 16 of CW's Charmed? Let me know, comment down below. What did you think of my predictions? Do you think Harry is going to be able to completely move on for Charity, or are they going to make it so he's pining away for that serial killer gaslighting woman? Let me know, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and also be sure to subscribe so that you're the first to know when I post my videos of all things horror, dark fantasy, and dark superhero. Thanks for watching. Let's get creepy together.